That's not GOAT talk. That's why Michael Jordan is the GOAT. Because
how does kind of these like media narratives enter your frame of mind at this time of year? Like, for example, because it's the Lakers, because it's you and Luka, it's like it's all about how did the Lakers lose this series? Really, what happened here is Minnesota's a hell of a team and they won the series. Like, how do you deal with some of that when you try to process all this?
For me, I've definitely learned over the years that teams win championships, and it's never always teams always win championships, and yes, individuals get a lot of the accolades and the praise, but a collective group, wins championships. Now, you have your big guys that make big plays at the end of games, throughout the game, or whatever the case may be, but ultimately, teams win championships, and I understand that, and it's never just about me and Luka. It was never just about, Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle. It was always Minnesota versus the Lakers. And I understand that. And I am at a point in my career now where I don't lose sleep over that. Like, fuck, how did me and Luka lose?
No.
Well, yeah. Well, there's 8 other guys on the floor. So
of course,
so
like, come on, man.
Okay, he blaming the 8 other guys, right? Well, we heard that story before when he did that, when he was on the podcast, I believe, and was talking about the Miami Heat team.
Mavericks.
Yeah, Heat Mavericks. So he's done that before. What I don't like is where he said he's not losing any sleep over it. That's not GOAT talk. That's why Michael Jordan is the GOAT, because Michael Jordan would never go on there and say, I don't lose sleep over losing in the first round with another superstar on my team. He would never say that. So that's, to me, that's the thing that kind of, rubs me the wrong way. He done the blame game before. He already did that. So I'm not tripping off that. I'm tripping off the fact if you want to consider yourself the GOAT and call yourself the GOAT, and everybody else, all these youngsters out here saying that he's the GOAT, this is why he's not the GOAT. It's for that particular reason right there. He doesn't lose any sleep over losing in the first. Yeah, like you got to have.
Because it's not my fault.
Right. I take no responsibility for it.
Look, it's a kind of blaming you, Eddie.
I'm taking it as he's talking about me.
Yeah.
You talking about me, brother?
I'm saying those are the complimentary players on the Heat that year. My guy, Eddie House, that year averaged 17.5 minutes a game, 6.5 points a game.
I didn't get enough minutes.
And shot 39% from behind the arc. So there you go.
Those are
but
horrible
all
numbers.
these years later, almost 15 years later now, Eddie, and to think that you guys didn't win an NBA championship, not because LeBron didn't get the job done or Wade didn't get the job done or Bosh didn't, but you didn't.
Okay,
that's what he's saying.
What I would say is this.
Yeah.
If we're going to point the fingers.
Let's point it.
We'll point the finger at the fourth quarter, collapsed every game that we had. Actually, you know what? It was 1-1, game 2. We were up. We collapsed in the fourth quarter. They tied it up. We win game 3. We go up 2-1.
Right.
We didn't win another game. So if we're going to, we're going to play the blame game.
Let's play it.
I wasn't out on the court.
Right. Who was on the court?
The man saying that the other guys wasn't getting
Was
it done.
LeBron on the court in the fourth quarter?
I don't know. You know what? He was, but he was. Hey, he was, but he wasn't.
Yeah. That one right there made me the greatest player of all time. That's
so
what
many
I felt.
reasons.
I was super, super ecstatic to win one for Cleveland because of the 52-year drought. Like, I was ecstatic. Like, obviously, I showed that the first wave of emotion was when everyone saw me crying. Like, that was all for 52 years. Everything in sports was going on in Cleveland. And then after I stopped, I was like, that one right there made you the greatest player of all time. Everybody was just talking how they were the greatest team of all time. Like, they was the greatest team ever assembled. And for us to come back, the way we came back in that fashion, I was like, you did something special. That's probably one of the only times in my career I felt like, oh shit, like you did something special. I haven't really had time to really like sit back and think, but that was a moment.
Crazy. Bit to unpack here. This is LeBron James' former teammate Eddie House, and he, of course, is still angry because LeBron made those statements about the Miami Heat team that lost to the Dallas Mavericks when he blamed the rest of the team and not the big three. All right, Eddie House was amongst the rest of the team. So Eddie House, he still holds a grudge against LeBron. All right, and that doesn't mean that he's biased. He just still holds a grudge against him because he felt that it was wrong, what LeBron said. So he was standing on that. All right, and calling him out again. You see how he explains that LeBron already did that blame game because he did it before, and now he's bringing back the same thing, saying, there's 8 other guys there, so we did our job. The other guys, they're the ones who didn't do it, including Austin Reeves, including Hachimura, guys who actually, chipped in when LeBron was playing in the fourth and not scoring any points or scoring 2 points. All right, and when Luka, was doing the same, following suit. Okay, so another thing to look at here. All right, I don't know if you remember when the Cavs, all right, featuring LeBron James and Kyrie Irving, and I think Kevin Love was there too as well, when they came back from that 3-1 deficit and ended up beating the Golden State Warriors when Draymond Green, got kicked out. I think it was Game 5 or Game 6. Do you remember, right, LeBron saying that win made him the GOAT? Right? So I hope you guys can see the hypocrisy, right? And LeBron saying that there's 8 other guys when he loses, but then when he wins, he's saying that it made him the GOAT. And this is particularly in a situation where, his teammate averaged almost 30-something points a game. All right, it wasn't like Kyrie Irving did nothing. Kyrie Irving was at his level. They were both good. I think Kyrie Irving even had, 40-point games in that series. He was completely unstoppable. And on top of that, he hit the championship clinching shot over Steph Curry. It wasn't even like LeBron hit that shot. So here we have LeBron usurping the credit, all right, in one case, and then another case, he's putting it on the 8 other guys, which is crazy. All right, and Eddie House is 100% correct, talking about GOAT talk, because Michael Jordan, he would never, ever speak this way. He would never even bring up the other guys. All right, I don't know if you guys watch The Last Dance, and you have Jerry Krause talking about how Michael never asked for anybody to be signed. He never asked for anybody to be traded. He thought he was so damn good himself. So he took the responsibility upon himself, not only to play well, but to make his teammates better. And if they weren't better, that was still his responsibility. And the same could be said about Kobe. And we're seeing the same thing in Ant also. Okay? And unfortunately, LeBron lacks this, and we know this ain't GOAT talk. That's not GOAT talk. So LeBron can go, all around, putting the crown on his head from now until the day that there's no more NBA basketball being played on planet Earth. But we know, everybody knows, all right, that he's not the GOAT. And he's showing that in action and also words. And that's about it. So until next time.